Another
Yes.
question that I have regarding the same topic is, who would you consider an intermediate? So when does
Yeah.
a beginner go from a beginner to an intermediate? When does that jump?
Yeah.
How would you categorize that?
Yeah, this catches a lot of people up, and it's actually a very important distinction. People love to put each other in boxes and classify themselves and be in this group or that group or in group or out group. Um, you know, there's a lot to be said about groups, but this is a useful a useful way to look at things, because it's a useful thing to look at because you'll make different decisions about what you do in the gym and how you program based upon where you fall. And most of the categorizations that are out there, I think, are really not helpful. In fact, they're counterproductive. Most of the time, what people do is they assess how muscular am I or how strong am I compared to the average person. And of course, the average, for some reason on the internet, is always like a 5'10", 190-pound guy who's been lifting for 2 years. Like,
Yeah.
so sucks if you're a woman, or sucks if you're 5'3" or 6'5", because there's no like,
Yeah.
three, like the whole, you should be at least squatting 3 plates. I'm like,
Three
well, hold
plates.
on, what if I'm a 5 foot female? Like, that's not a reasonable goal.
Right. 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 Yeah.
So anyway, those random numbers are really not that helpful. And those body weight multipliers really only work until you get really light in weight or really heavy. And then it doesn't allometrically scale, which is actually the way strength scales. So what makes a lot more sense is to think about, well, okay, well, what is the definition of having experience in the gym? And what does it mean to be trained versus untrained? Well, this goes back to what we already talked about. A novice makes rapid gains to some degree, regardless of their program, so long as it is in the realm of reasonableness. So, why is that? Well, because they have never had this stimulus before. So, it's a novel adaptation. Okay. So, then when are you not a novice? It's when that's no longer occurring. Now you need a more specific adaptation to improve. And we can think about this more broadly. Like if you are just completely sedentary and you decide, I want to go run a marathon, if you started cycling and swimming, your marathon time would rapidly improve.
Right.
But if you were to take a marathon runner and have him stop training for the marathon and replace all that with cycling and swimming, that marathon runner would get slower,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
it really comes down to what are your prior adaptations? And then
Right.
how quickly can you make progress when you're
Right.
putting forth a sufficient stimulus? So
Right.
I think the best way to categorize a novice is someone who, in the context of a reasonable program, every time you repeat a workout, so typically week to week, you're able to see some form of measurable progress. Adding a rep, adding 2.5 kilos, similar. Doing the same thing but it feeling easier would also
Easier.
count.
Yeah.
Yep. And then when you're an intermediate, it just simply can't happen that fast. Typically, we're looking at week to week, maybe very small changes on one thing, or like mesocycle to mesocycle. Like if you were to use like that 2 times a week full body plan and you squatted on both days, a novice could probably improve from Tuesday to Friday. An
Right.
intermediate might need to wait a week or two, or the next rotation of that. If they had like a pyramid scheme week to week. Like if they're doing, 6 reps, 5 reps, 4 reps, 6 reps, 5 reps, 4 reps. When they went from 6 to 6, it might be more weight. So it'd be like a
Right.
4 week delay.
Right.
So it's kind of like on a microcycle level, on a week to week basis, novices are making progress. On a mesocycle level, intermediates are making progress. So
Right.
when you're an intermediate based upon how quickly you're able to progress. And this is gym based progress.
Right.
And then an advanced is pretty much anything more than that, where you've got to put together, strings of blocks of training before you can see an improvement. And a lot of the times, any improvement is something that you're happy about.
Right. Right. Right.
So
The
that's
first
generally
first
how,
couple
how
of
I how I
years
advise
are,
it.
yeah, the first couple of years are, as they say, you make a lot of gains, most of your gains, right?